Hi, welcome to the 2020 Economic Preparation and Recession channel. I'm your host, Tony. Thank you so much for joining me on this weekend edition, Friday, December 4th, 2020. We've made it to the end of another week. We are beginning into this last month of 2020, which has been wild for everybody involved. Whether you're in North America, South America, Europe, or Asia, or Africa, it has been a wild year for everybody. And it's about to get even crazier in 2021. As you know, there was a stay-at-home order issued for the San Francisco Bay Area ahead of the state mandate by Governor Newsom. And today, President-elect Joe Biden warns the economy is stalling after dire jobs report calls for urgent action on this stimulus package. Now, mind you, this is the second stimulus package. Might even be possibly three stimulus packages since this whole sickness outbreak began in March, okay? Now, the jobs report yesterday, as you know, the job report, for those of you who don't know, the jobs report comes out every Thursday at 8:30 a.m. and all of the financial pundits and experts on CNBC, MSNBC, Fox Business News, etc. come out and make the predictions. Well, this past Thursday, you can guess how many jobs we lost. Comment down below. I'll tell you right now, we lost over 710,000 jobs again. Ladies and gentlemen, this marks the 33rd straight week of job losses of 500,000 or more. Isn't that unbelievable? This is unbelievable. Biden's statement noted that the, quote, dire jobs report offered only a snapshot of the situation in November before the surge in cases and deaths in December as we head into a, quote, dark winter. This is Biden's words. But wait a minute. So what's the connection, ladies and gentlemen, between the stimulus? Wait a minute. I thought there was no connection between the stimulus and this vaccine that everybody's praising about. All these companies are racing to get a vaccine or have a vaccine. They're just trying to race to distribute it, like Pfizer and Moderna and all these other companies that we hear about, Johnson & Johnson. And they're racing and they have it ready within record time. I mean, 8 months development. They've already tested it. They're getting ready to go into phase 3 efficacy, as they call it, as epidemiologists call it. Whereas most time vaccines take up to 5 years of development. So what's the rush? I thought the economy was doing good. I thought this was the greatest quote unquote economy since World War II. Well, apparently now both sides, Democrats and Republicans, are admitting that this thing is stalling. Now, this is something that we've already noted. I've already preached to you on this channel that this economy, underwhelming jobs report. We have 60 million unemployed. We have not only just high unemployment, we have crime going up. We have this disease pandemic that's locking down, whether it's real or whether the numbers are real or not. I don't want to get into that, but the bottom line is it's stalling this economy, and it's not going to get any better, ladies and gentlemen. If you think things are going to open up in 2021, I don't think so. So be prepared for more store closures, more state lockdowns. We're talking about cities locking down, not just gyms, bars, restaurants, schools. We're going into a total lockdown. And the only question that remains is whether it's going to happen before President-elect Joe Biden takes office on January 20th or after he takes office. Right now, my bet is on after, because they want you to enjoy the holidays a little bit. But if things get really bad, which they are already because we're in an economic crisis, they can declare what's called medical martial law, which is already taking place in California and other states as well. But this is what we're going into, a soft lockdown, a medical martial law situation. And this is going to be regardless of who takes office on January 20th of this coming year. Because of a lot of people out of work, that means that crime is going to go up. Services are going to be stretched to the limits. Not just hospital services, but we're talking about services of food, water, services of utilities, because people are going to get sick with this thing or whatever it is, whether it's the regular flu, the common cold that they're covering up and saying that it's, we know a lot of the numbers are being padded and inflated. That's another story, but that's just something to give you a heads up on. The U.S. on Thursday reported the most new infections, hospitalizations, and single-day deaths of the entire pandemic. 217,664 new cases, more than 100,667 patients in hospitals, and 2,879 fatalities. and the nation's top public health officials are warning that the situation will get even worse. As you know, Dr. Anthony Fauci continues to come out every week and saying that, oh, now we're going to have 300,000 deaths by the end of the year, 400,000. The numbers just keep going up like a lottery machine. So one of the things that we know is that the media is very good at distracting people from the issues that we have. We have a economic depression in our cities, from New York to Chicago to LA to Houston to Dallas to Denver to Miami. We are all going to be feeling this depression. And so if Congress and President Trump fail to act by the end of December 12th, millions of Americans will lose the unemployment benefits they rely on to keep food on the table and pay their bills. Emergency paid leave will end. The moratorium on evictions will expire. States and cities will lose vital tools they need to help pay for testing and public health workers to fight this pandemic. Now, another thing too is, if you don't have a job and you don't have health insurance, right? And you go to get tested, let's just say you go to get tested because you're traveling, you're doing essential travel for business or to visit family, right? So you go to one of these testing sites and you don't have insurance and you don't have a job. The actual cost of this test is $125. The PCR test that they're talking about, it's called the polymerase chain reaction test, the PCR test, which, by the way, has been giving a lot of false positives to people, okay? So you can test false positive one day and then test again negative because they run the test like 30 times or in this computer machine, right? And what's so interesting about it is, let's say you don't have the money. Let's say you don't have a job, you don't have health insurance. There is some free county clinics in some of these states, but that's, if it becomes overwhelmed, they're going to start charging for this. And what's so sickening about this whole racket is that these vaccine companies have already been paid by the government $500 billion or whatever to make these vaccines, make an emergency use authorization by the FDA to put it out to us before, let's say the general public gets it in April. Okay. So this is absolutely crazy. And now they're telling us that this economy in this next bailout package that Biden and Harris and the economy, the administration is talking about, is going to be $980 billion, okay? They're quoting, that's the figure they're quoting, and it won't include a $1,200 stimulus, but it's supposed to be a lower stimulus amount than $1,200. So we're getting even less, but we're increasing the debt, the $27 trillion debt that we already have. We're increasing that, and the dollar is falling. Have you looked at the dollar index lately? It's below $92. The dollar's getting crushed. We have massive debt. And we're not getting as much stimulus for the American people, only for the fat cats in Wall Street and those who have, the top 1%. Because remember, they're gonna, in this next stimulus package, they're gonna give $45 billion to the airlines. They're gonna bail out the hotel, the retail, you name it. Okay, and the only guys that are gonna be able to survive this in terms of business is gonna be the big guys: Walmart, Amazon, Target. You know it. Facebook, Microsoft. Who else? Tesla. That's it. Okay, every small business is going to be struggling. They're going to be struck and suffocated like a boa constrictor suffocating a little rat, and they're just going to end up staying home. And we can hope for universal basic income, like Andrew Yang was talking about before this whole presidential election season started. But that's something that we're not going to be counting on, because we remain in one of the worst economic and job crises in modern history. The economy is stalling, and what's worse is that next year we still have two bubbles yet to pop that everybody's waiting for, that they know is coming. It's the housing bubble, okay? Housing bubble's in big trouble, because in December 31st, that's when the moratorium, as on rent and evictions expired. A lot of people postponed all their mortgages and stuff. If they fail to renew that, then there's going to be a lot of evictions or foreclosures. So that has yet to pop, that bubble. And then we also have the consumer debt bubble, the student loan bubble. And we also have this, on top of this pandemic thing that's going to just shut down whatever economy we had left. I mean, just think about it. The stock market is making new record highs every single day that they've talked about on the news. How can you have record highs when you have record unemployment and record cities and small businesses shutting down? it's just contradictory. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because they're trying to cover up one of the biggest wealth transfers that we're going to see in our lifetime, and one of the biggest depressions that I told you is going to last beyond Biden's term. If he gets in, it's going to last beyond his term. We're talking a 12-year depression, and that's not just here, it's worldwide. I don't want to forget my friends over in Europe, my friends over in Asia, Africa, Australia. It's a worldwide thing. Everyone's supporting the same thing. Their governments are massively printing up money. Not only that, they're massively trying to get hold of this surge of cases that all of a sudden everybody's getting surges of cases, and it's overwhelming the system, and all of these things is going on, and it is a lot. So now we have a stay-at-home order issued for San Francisco Bay Area, and that's going to be expanding nationwide. The state of Delaware over here, as a matter of fact, in Delaware, they issued a stay-at-home order from December 14th to January 10th. Other states will follow. New York is going to be next. Governor Cuomo is going to be next to issue that because he sees the numbers are increasing. We're going to see that in the Midwest. And it's just going to be a mess. A lot of people are moving out of the cities and moving deep into the suburbia and out into the rural areas, and that's an excellent idea. I encourage you to do that if you can within the next 2 to 3 years, because the cities are actually going to be jungles, a lot of abandoned properties, and that's going to lead to crime. If you cannot protect or defend yourself, it's going to be absolute jungle nightmare. Fend for yourself, because the police are going to be stretched super thin, especially now with this defund the police movement and other things. And it's just going to be absolute chaos. And they know that. That's what they're preparing the National Guard to, when this vaccine does come out, to help distribute it, because it's going to be an absolute chaos. And so get prepared. Continue to buy food, water, security, medicine, supplies, especially medicine. If you have family members that need dire medicine and things that need it, get all of that ahead of time, because you may not even be able to get like Tylenol and basic toilet paper. You may not even get basic supplies like cough syrup so you can take care of yourself, or bandages or tourniquets or whatever. You're going to need to do that, because the hospitals are going to close regardless if they're treating all these people that they're claiming they're treating for this pandemic. They're going to turn away people because, they don't have the staff. A lot of the nurses and doctors are being furloughed at these hospitals they don't tell you about. They're only telling you about this number of the pandemic. But a lot of nurses and doctors have been reporting to me that they've been shutting down whole wings of hospitals, and they've been furloughed in a lot of these cities, smaller cities, and in towns, And so we have to look at that too. So continue to prepare. This economic crisis is coming, regardless of how much we try to print our way out of it. $980 billion is a drop in the bucket. It's not enough to cover. I would expect at least $2 trillion, but they're printing up all the money that they can print up. And so that's why this next stimulus is going to be less, and it's just going to trickle down to hyperinflation kicks in, and our dollar is going to be worth nothing. So let's just continue to buy what we can now before we become a third world basket country, banana republic, and just do what we can until the next administration. So be blessed, guys. I'll talk to you very soon. Thank you so much for joining me, and be sure to subscribe to this channel for the latest economic news. Thank you.